NSC Fan TV, Scott. I'm here with Drew. Long form interview. We had the tie with Montreal, 1-1, coming from behind, scoring at the end. Drew, you and I were talking during the game, and you had opinions about the midfield. Tell me what you saw.
Well, first off, I don't think this is any. I'm not trying to be offensive here, right? But Moyle didn't have his greatest game in the first part of the first half.
Nope.
It wasn't until the last maybe 5 minutes that he started having a positive impact on the game in the midfield. I kind of saw something like a strict 4-4-2 last game, right? That led to some issues. I think getting the ball forward and getting real chances off, and getting the goalie to actually work. And that was partially because we stuck with the 4 in the midfield. Here we saw Moyle come up more, and I think even from the first 5 minutes, we saw Moyle come up and almost transmutate, I was saying, into a 4-3-3 just for a moment. It's not quite a false 9, but something similar, which I think really works with the way that our right and left backs play, right. The way Lovitz and Johnston play. But I was noticing it would have worked, and maybe have even gotten us a goal early on if Moyle had some better passes. I was noticing when it came to passes in the midfield, it was Dax who was really threatening the ball through, finding avenues and channels to get the ball forward. And it was Moyle who was kind of more so-so in the middle. I think this just wasn't his game. As far as the midfield goes, I think Dax did great. He did have to come off at the end, and I think, my captain about him. He just really great passes, really great energy. I think he really set the tempo for the midfield. And I was just a little disappointed with the way Moyle played in the midfield.
Well, and in some ways, by the middle of the game, we were commenting during the game that that especially once we got behind, play got a lot more direct, and the midfield, there wasn't a lot of midfield possession. It just kind of emptied out, and it was just sort of over the top, right?
It started, as soon as we got behind, it was more play it forward, long ball, play balls through. We've got to scramble and hustle. And we saw something almost similar again last game where we got behind and trailed for most of the game. And it meant that we had to make quicker decisions with our midfield play. Now, speaking of that, one thing that leads up to it, though, is the fact that we were playing out of the back. And we weren't doing that last game. And that's something that CF Montreal was doing as well, is playing out of the back. And I feel like when it comes to transitioning from the back to the midfield, that's where Moyle was, to me, more lackluster this game. But that's where honestly Dax got the shine. And I think that if you iron some of that out, you wouldn't have to do the same kind of midfield to just clear the midfield out, play the ball long like we had to do towards the end there once we got behind.
So and that seemed to affect even the way that the forwards were playing because even with some of the hold-up play that we had seen with some of the forwards, that was affected because once midfield got emptied and we had to play more direct, everything was just clogged in the front, right?
Yeah, and I think with the physicality of some of their defenders too, that became an issue.
Yeah.
We talked about number 3, who more than likely, in my opinion at least, should have been sent off for a second yellow with his really reckless challenges. I think it made it tough though. The directness was good. I think one of the problems too is that so many of their players are very tall. And we had quite a few corners actually. We were talking about Dax, and I was giving him big praise, but if he was 1 foot taller, just 1 foot taller, then
how is he getting all the headers? How is he getting all the headers? The guy's like what, 5'5"?
That was a big chance in the first half, and I thought honestly that could have been in. But if he was just a bit taller, honestly their team is pretty tall generally too. So.
Yeah.
But speaking of their team though, number 8, Torres, I think it was.
Yeah.
Extremely theatrical.
Yes.
It's almost like he wanted to be Neymar Jr. The way that he would just crumple after getting touched. I mean,
my eyes!
Yeah, but he was honestly, I just talked about how tall their team was. He was probably the shortest member of their team, but the feistiest. And he did have pretty good vision in the midfield, I can't lie.
Yeah.
But I don't think that justifies the theatrics. I mean, and the thing about the ref, though, he was going for all of it.
Yeah, the ref was falling for it every time. I mean, it was, and despite the fact that he was able to see through so many other, like, crumple and things like that. He was like, "Yeah, no, play on. Get up." But until he got on and just was needs a fainting couch or something. I don't know. So maybe a final question. Tell me, what did you see? What do you think that we need to be doing differently? Because we are just constantly in this position where we are chasing the game, and it makes for exciting soccer, and we love to see him come from behind. But that is not a sustainable way to win soccer games. That is not we collect all these ties because we give up these goals and have to chase the game for 90 minutes or 45 minutes. What sort of solutions do you see? What sort of things are you seeing? I mean, we were talking a little bit about the dogma of 4-4-2 and maybe a little bit of movement on there. But what else do you think that you're seeing?
Well, I guess I'll do one thing first, is give credit to their goalie. He made some crucial saves, and there were chances that would have went in if it weren't for somebody blocking the ball like he did so quickly.
Yeah, Creamsicle had a great game.
Creamsicle, he did have a good game. But I think in terms of what we can change, I think starting Zimmerman, I think the fact he wasn't at practice and probably wasn't in a position to just put him out immediately, maybe he didn't know the game plan. Next time, if we're able to start Zimmerman, I think that'll help to hold things down in the back, because, I mean, we just talked about it, but Johnson had to drop back in the center, and it meant that it was harder to mark their 12. So the double 12 situation. It meant I don't know what position he was either, because like you, I was interested in their layout, because they almost dropped back to 5 in the back.
Yeah, there was a 5 in the back.
As soon as
we get the ball and they're suddenly 5 flat across the back.
Yeah,
and that was even whenever it was tied 0-0.
Yeah, it was difficult, and I think honestly their 12, having the kind of endurance he did to play that way for the whole game,
he played 90 minutes like that. Yeah.
And to send those kind of crosses in with his left was insane. One more thing before I'm out, just so I don't forget. I know I just said Lovitz, you want it on the left. We saw some excellent right-footed crosses by Lovitz into the center.
Right foot from Dan Lovitz.
Danny Lovitz.
Loving that. We were joking before the game. We were like, yeah, Lovitz uses his right foot to stand on when he kicks with his left. Hey, that was consistently good right-footed play from him.
Good play. But before we sign off, let me just say that header. That header.
Man,
I mean that was excellent. That got a man of the match too.
Man of the match. And you know what? Kudos to Mayer for the assist on that.
The service was excellent too.
Awesome.
The service was excellent.
All right. I think we're good. NSC Fan TV, guys.